Hello again, Gordon. Here we are with the fifth and the final print of your CWAJ acquisition group. And starting out, as usual, with a shot that I'm trying to hold my iPhone up high enough so it captures the whole image. But this is back in familiar territory for me. It's an etching, and it's a fun one. It's a really nice kind of lyrical impression of a thatched roof house that one might find in the countryside of Japan. And I think the artist has taken some license with the exaggeration of the form, although it's possible that in some areas there are thatched roof homes that are so intensely dominated by such a huge roof as this. For the area around where I live in Kyoto and Shiga and surrounding areas, Kobe and Osaka, when I've been in the countryside, I haven't quite seen one as big as this that kind of reminds me of a close-up of the prow of a ship, a freighter ship. It's amazing how it dominates the whole scene, but it also is interesting because you pick up the smaller details as a result, such as these clothes drying out here on the line, and looks like there's something else hanging on the line there next to the clothes, which is hard to say. Some farmers tend to put out onions and persimmons, but normally the onions and persimmons are hung under the eaves to dry, so I'm not sure what we're looking at here. This is very clearly an etching, and you can see all this draftsmanship and line work that has gone into this roof is pretty intense. And the artist has obviously spent a lot of time on this. And you can see the clear difference between putting a lot of lines in on a plate by hand versus the almost mechanical perfection of the deep passages of tone that you see in the mezzotints and in the mezzotint that we saw before in the Hamanishi print. I'm just going to turn this over quickly because I want to show you and see for myself the plate mark, which is highly visible here. The indentation into the paper left after running the print through the press. I'm not sure what kind of paper the artist used here, but I'm pretty sure it's not Japanese made. Looks like a really nice paper, actually. I'd be curious to know what it is, because it obviously picks up the detail work in the print really nicely. And this artist has signed the print in English, Big Root -3 Autumn, and it looks like he or she's written the same in Japanese next to it in pencil, which makes me want to search through this image to see where the big root is. Makes me think of what, daikon and what have you, but I don't see any daikon or any other roots. Well, actually, right down here at the base here, those could be the tops of daikon, but normally they plant them in rows, so I think I'm incorrect about that. And some other details that you can see in here that you'll need a magnifying glass to look at up close. But down here, just above the grasses, you can see some roulette marks, and those are more regular textures that are rolled into the plate with a small tool that I've described before. It's a little wooden handled tool that has a grain on it that spins around on a little post, and you just roll that roulette, or sometimes in Japanese it's called a mulette, back and forth in the areas where we want shading, and that would correspond to the shadows of the clothes hanging on the line. The artist has also used the roulette on the clothes, and it's quite possible that the artist then went back in to the shaded areas with a burnisher and polished out some highlights there. And up here we have the only color other than the sepia tone that's used for the overall print, and that's for the persimmons. Almost looks like there's some orange that's spilling out outside of the confines of the persimmons themselves, but it's, yeah, in fact, right here. So, yeah, I'm guessing it's another plate. Certainly an artist could, and I probably would, simplify the work and add these colors here, possibly with hand coloring, with watercolor. Not sure I would devote a whole second plate just for such a small area, but I think that's possibly what the artist did. Sorry, I'm getting kind of close here with the camera. It looks like we're getting a little fuzzy around the edges there. So you can see up here by the top persimmon kind of extends beyond the brown of the thatch lines in the roof. I think he probably used the second plate and just used it for that orange there. See what else we can see. You can see in this whole area there's a whole and kind of more intense and subtle form passage of darks, and I'm not sure how the artist has accomplished that. If you look up here, see clearly where the not quite crosshatch lines, but just the incised lines stand alone against a slightly tannish background, which is probably another plate. And so this more amorphous dark form in the center of the roof could possibly be another plate itself too. Could be aqua tint. Let's see if we can. You can see the white of the paper shining through the lines here, but the more you scan towards the center of the roof, you can see it gets grayer underneath those lines. And then when we come across this side, we get back to the lighter tones of the paper. So somehow the artist was able to get a whole passage, a whole section of this roof darker in the background. And it's hard to say if it was the same plate. It's very possible that the artist did an aqua tint etching and then added the line work later, and that's all on the same plate. Would make sense to just keep all the colors on all of the one color on the same plate, just different techniques used to impart the information to the plate. And I'm looking now at the entryway of the door here, trying to find my right focal length. That almost looks like spit bite, and that's where you paint with acid directly onto the plate itself. You can almost see it's almost like an ink painting. You see color bleeds in this area here in a horizontal fashion. And get over here to the window, and you see more of that. Very kind of soft gradations. There's a little bit of a clear demarcation line between these two, and I'm not sure how that was achieved, but probably just that if it is from spit bite, that the artist just, when making the plate, applied more acid, in a more specific area here, as he or she was biting the plate directly with acid. So, if I'm right with the spit bite there, then totally possible that whole deeper passage on the roof was done by spit bite as well. So, yeah, a good combination of technique here for etching. And we can see if we can get a little closer on some of the details here. It looks like traditional style raincoats and those kind of semi-conical shaped hats hanging up for use for the farmer. Got a little axe buried into a chopping block piece of wood and some firewood stacked there, as well as around the corner. Now, some nice detail work here, really nice lines, sort of foliage growing around the house, as well as some nice details. Just detected a little bit of red there for the post box. It's kind of a cute little touch, and kind of a contemporary touch as well. And some little decorations here, the flower basket, planted flowers, these stepping stones for visitors or family members to step up into the house. Maybe during the summertime they'll open up the shoji screen doors, let some breeze blow through. Basically it's a farmer's life type of an image that has been kind of dreamily extended into a larger, simple and bold form. It's not quite abstract, but obviously the artist has a fair amount of affection for thatched roof homes. And I know a few other artists who have worked with etching who also depict thatched roof homes. And it seems like a medium because of its linear qualities, that graphic draftsmanship-oriented qualities, that the medium is really well suited for thatched roof and architecture and wood grains and the like. Yeah, there's a fair amount of work in that, but it's very pleasing to look at with the naked eye, and a lot of little details to enjoy. And I think if you compare this with the previous woodblock print, you can really see the difference in techniques and how the medium itself imparts its own unique textural qualities to the surface. Okay. Well, I think I'll leave it at that for now, and certainly do let me know if you have any follow-up questions about any of these prints. I'll be glad to run back through them and try to answer anything that I can. Alrighty. Bye for now.